Hello ladies and gentlemen. For the next 3 weeks during the state wrestling tournament, I'm going to be creating these videos. So as always, if you have any questions, make sure that you're emailing me or asking me throughout the week to clarify pieces of information that you may not have understood. Now, today you should have already taken the Amendments 11 through 27 quiz that I posted on Edmodo. If you have not taken that quiz, you need to do so now. Now the rest of this video, I'm going to give you instructions on scheduling. Now if you have any questions, make sure that you pause, rewind first, and if you have any further questions, please go ask Mrs. Gross any scheduling questions or clarifications. Now when we go back to Edmodo, you're going to see that I posted a link. It's called Schedules. So go ahead and click on that Schedules, and this spreadsheet is going to come up for you. Now first thing you need to do is make sure you make a copy for yourself. So go to File, make a copy, and go ahead and rename it your first name Course Planning Sheet. So after you make a copy for yourself, let's look at your copy. The purpose of this is to plan out the next 4 years of your high school career. And we have an understanding that you have to take 4 units of math, you have to take 3 units of science with a possibility, that's why I put this box in yellow, with a possibility of a 4th. You are required to take 4 units of English, 3 units of history with an option to take a 4th. You have to take a fine arts sometime in your 4-year career. 2 if you are looking at getting an honors diploma. The same with foreign language. If you're looking at going to college or getting an honors diploma, you got to fit your foreign languages in. And then your electives column. This is just a place where you look through the course description book and go ahead and kind of list out all the electives that you would be interested in over the next 4 years. So now that we have this made a copy of, let's go ahead and let's go to Garaway.org. So let's go to the school's homepage here at Garaway.org. And again, throughout this video, don't be afraid to pause it along the way so you have some time. I'm just going to go through this quickly, but if you need more time, please make sure you pause and rewind. Okay, so we came to Garaway.org, and you may or may not come to the new homepage, but there will be a tab for schools. So put your cursor over schools, go to Garaway 712. So once we come here to Garaway 7 through 12, the first link you're going to see is a course description book, 2015-16. We're going to click on that, and then we come to this. Go ahead and click on 2015-16 course description booklet. And then you should ultimately end up with a PDF file that looks like this. All right. Now if we scroll down to page number, I believe it's 17 in the booklet. I'm just going to scroll down here real quick, and we're going to look at the math department. Alright, so here's math on page 17. So here are all of the course offerings that Garaway offers. Now, just a little bit here about how to read this. Okay, here's some important pieces of information. So you're going to have the title, Algebra 1. It's 1 credit, so that means it's 1 year in length, and it's eligible to grades 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. One thing that we found with the schedule that Mrs. Gross gave us yesterday, some of those classes that are listed, you are not eligible for, either because of a grade requirement or a prerequisite. Now, a prerequisite is listed here at the end. So geometry, a prerequisite or a requirement to get into geometry is that you have to first pass Algebra 1. So if you're in 8th grade math or pre-algebra, you would not have the prerequisite to get into geometry. So if you're in 8th grade math or pre-algebra now, you're going to go back to this course planning sheet, okay, and you're going to type in, okay, the course number for Algebra 1 is 1104. Okay, so you would take that 1104 and you would put it here, and then you would write Algebra 1. So you're going to have an idea of how your math is going to flow. So if you start with Algebra 1, your freshman year, you would move into geometry as a sophomore, and then from there you would move into Algebra 2. Now, Ohio requires that everybody at least finish with an Algebra 2. Now, there's also this new class called Math Support. So while you take Algebra, Geometry, or Algebra 2, you could also take this Math Support class with Mrs. Schwartz next year. That would be an aide. She would basically be a tutor for you in these areas, and you could also earn math credit. Now, other courses that are available: Intro to College Algebra, 1 credit. It's only eligible for seniors. And the prerequisite is that you took Algebra 2. So in reality, if I was laying out my schedule, I might take Algebra 1 my freshman year, Geometry my sophomore year, Algebra 2 my junior year, and then I could take this Intro to College Algebra my senior year, and that would fill up my course requirements. Now, if I was really good in math and I was looking into a math field, I might take some higher level course like pre-calculus or AP calculus. But again, you got to look at those grades. Okay, so it's only pre-calculus is only available for grades 11 and 12, and then as a prerequisite. Same with AP calculus. Okay, it's only available to 12th graders, to seniors, and it also has a prerequisite that you have to take pre-calculus first. So please be careful when you look down through these. Again, double check the course description book before you put anything on our schedules. Alright, so let's do that same exact thing with science. Okay, so Mrs. Sass talked to you today, so you should have a pretty good idea of which science you're going to take, either physical science or biology. Now, Mrs. Gross talked yesterday about the requirements to take both a life and a physical science. So physical science would include chemistry, physics, AP chemistry, and then also physical science. But you're also required to take a life science. So that would be the life science, Bio 1, Bio 2, environmental chemistry. Okay, those are all options. So just because I have the senior year in yellow, that's just to indicate that you only need 3 units of science to graduate high school. Now, if you're going into a field like nursing where you're going to need a strong science background, then obviously Mrs. Gross would highly recommend that you take all 4 years of a science. English is going to be pretty straightforward. There's no college prep courses. It's just English 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now, the only other option is the college credit course, college composition. But again, you have to be able to test into that. So maybe this is something to think about for in the future. Now, your history, okay, so everybody their freshman year is going to take world history. So everybody's going to type in world history, and then that number is 1511. Your sophomore year, everybody's taking U.S. history, and then your junior year, you're going to take government. So if I flip real quick to there's science, here's social studies. Okay, so world history is open, is 1 credit, so it's all year to 9th graders. U.S. history, 1 credit, 10th graders. American government, 1 credit to juniors, and then your senior year, you have the option of taking advanced placement, American history. Now, I know some of these label religion, and also in the English department, they also label like journalism and also yearbook. Those don't count towards credits towards your English. All right, you have to take English 10, 11, 12, okay, to get those English credits that you need. Now, so you got to figure out, okay, so where am I going to get my fine art credit from, and when am I going to take that? Now, one thing I do want you to be careful with is the arts, and I'll go ahead and scroll up here to the art section, because many of those arts have a prerequisite, okay, and it's right here. Okay, if you want to basically take anything in art, you have to first start with Foundations of Art. All right, Foundations of Art is a half a credit. It's available to 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th and 12th graders. But if you look down through, all the prerequisites, okay, are going to be foundations, 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 foundations. So make sure that if you are looking at taking one of Mr. Nyholm's art classes, you've got to schedule. The first thing you're scheduling is this Foundations of Art, because before you take this, you're not eligible to take any other art class. So going back through, go ahead and make sure that you fill out all of these, the core courses, the math, science, English, and history first. Pick out that fine arts that you're going to take. If you're going to be in foreign language, if you're looking for that honors diploma or going to college, okay, you need to make sure you figure out when you're taking your foreign language, and then also go ahead and list out your electives. And then you can start punching in, okay, my freshman year, here are my 4 core courses, and so I really have 3 left over. But there, again, if I'm in band or choir, okay, that only leaves me with 2. And if I decide I need a study hall, that only leaves me 1 other elective. And then if you're in band and choir and want to take a study hall, your schedule's done for that freshman year. Now, another thing I want to mention in closing is, don't forget, somewhere in these 4 years, you have to take a health class. So somewhere on this schedule, I need to see health. All right. Another thing I would highly suggest is, when you finish this form, stop in Mrs. Gross's office and show her your plan. And ask her if, A, you meet all the requirements to graduate, and what she thinks of your course layout. She may think that, maybe you should take something later on in high school that is more advanced, and that you maybe get more out of it at a later date. But please, this is your future. This is something that could have huge ramifications. If you miss something, if something's not on here, okay, you may not graduate. So please, I can't overemphasize this enough. Ask questions to Mrs. Gross. Early and often, make sure that you're asking questions. There are no dumb questions. This is the first time you're doing it. Make sure you have your facts straight. So again, if there's any questions, you need to go talk to Mrs. Gross. All right. So good luck, and I will see everybody on Monday.